Hello and welcome back to the Can I Get a Refill podcast for a solo episode today, the very last episode of 2025. As I recap the year that was, we talk about the shedding of the snakeskin of 2025 as we embrace new beginnings for 2026, which are very exciting, all about transformation, independence, and freedom. I hope you had a very nice Christmas. I had one of the nice Christmases I've had in years. It was very, very warm, very still kind of stressful because we were hosting. So I do feel like, you feel like you have months to prepare and then all of a sudden it came and went. And I had really nice catch-ups with my besties the Sunday before. I had Christmas Eve with Alan's family. His mum went to so much trouble and Leo got so spoilt with gifts and broke a few snow globes and things along the way. Christmas Day was at my place. We hosted my family and I had a very dear friend I've known for 30 years. He joined us and he fit in so well. It was a beautiful Christmas. And then Boxing Day with some other friends. So, and you know me, 3 days in a row of socializing is a lot. So once I stop record today, Alan's got Leo out. I've got the smudge stick ready to go, the Palo Santo for this afternoon, but we're going to get into all of that. But it was beautiful Christmas. It was very nice. I'm feeling a little sluggish and out of shape with the things I ate, but that's okay. That's par for the course. So we'll get back onto it. So I feel like this year, 2025, I've heard a lot of people say things like, it's been heavy. This year's felt heavier than I expected. I'm exhausted, but I can't quite explain why. I just want to say you're not on the wrong path. It's not you. It's the year. So this year was a combination of the snake in Chinese horoscopes and a global 9-year in numerology. Together, they've created a collective atmosphere of shedding, release, emotional truth, and ending. So, you know how when you're tidying your house and you start by doing a few things, but then you think, I might as well just get into all of it, and you pull everything out of the cupboards. I remember the last time I did that on my kitchen cabinet, like everything came out, wiped everything down, put everything back in little trays so they're easy to reach, and I felt so, so good. But halfway through, you look around and you're in rubble, and you think, I've made more of a mess than when I started. To me, that's what this year was. To some people have said they've had the best year of their life. That wonderful guest we had this year, Emma Largalo, said it was the best year of her life. She had a milestone birthday, a big trip overseas. It was not that way for me. I rang my auntie the other day to wish her a Merry Christmas, and she's like, how's your year been? I said, really tough. But I don't want people to think that I'm complaining, because if you remember my episode exactly a year ago, I said that this year, 2025, I want to get comfortable in the uncomfortable. And that is 100% what I did. I did things that pushed boundaries and were new. Anything that's not familiar is uncomfortable. I have felt uncomfortable all fucking year. And I had to, because everything's been the same in my life for a long time. And sometimes that's nice. And sometimes you need the years that are just like a warm hug. But sometimes, like when you plant the seed, some year it's planting the seed, some year it's watching it grow, sometimes it's eating the fruit. Every year can be so different. And I have seen a lot of people change careers, leave jobs, leave relationships, and all of it has felt uncomfortable. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to get maybe 2026, maybe further in the future, we're going to look back and say, well, that needed to happen. So it's been really difficult for me, but a beautiful, rewarding year. I've said this all through the year. Like, I love being a mum, but I do find the 1 to 2 stage so much harder than newborn. I look back at Christmas last year when he wasn't rolling or crawling or doing much at all. And it was all so cha-la-la, very just sweet and nice and, like picture perfect, like how you pictured motherhood to be. And this year has just felt like, like I've given up. Pulling things out. You get to a stage where you pick your battles and you're like, I'm not even fighting that, like boy mums will get this. Recent boy mums will get it. And it's been a lot, but I know I'm not alone in that. And I think if you're here, you might be in the same boat as well. So one of the themes this year was revealing truth. So I know a lot of people have sort of looked at, intimate relationships or other relationships or jobs and thought, and again, It's not criticizing. It's not saying you're bad, the job is bad. It could be that you've grown into a different place, and you could have looked at something, seen it with a different light and thought, it's not for me anymore. And some have embraced this shedding, this snakeskin shedding, and some have clung to what's familiar. And whatever your path is, that's fine. But for me, it's sort of that now or never. Now is the time to embrace. And it's been really scary, just a change in work circumstance, a change in, for the first time since 1998, I don't have a regular paycheck coming in. You've got to hustle for the money that you make. And, I've had freedom, but I've had instability where everything doesn't feel cozy and warm. It feels a little bit scary, but that can be a really good thing too. So the year of the snake is deeply symbolic of transformation, wisdom, and renewal. So you might have studied, you might have gained some wisdom. I know that I always say don't count how many books you read. It should be for pleasure. But I've read 19 books this year, and I don't think I've ever read more than 12, because in the mornings I read the nonfiction, and I've had so many wonderful guests that have books this year that I've just had to smash through the books to be able to write the questions to interview them. And in the evenings I read my fiction just to go to a little fantasy place. I have gained so much wisdom for myself. Like, it was started to impart that to you, but it has up-leveled my life so much. So for me, it has been a year of gaining wisdom. It has been a year of transformation. And I think the renewal is more, it started the renewal. I'm hoping that 2026 will be the seeing that come to life. So in spiritual traditions, the snake sheds its skin to survive and grow, never out of loss, but out of necessity. So 2025 asked you to do the same. So if you're watching this on YouTube, comment below if that's something that you feel that you've done this year, if you feel that 2025 has challenged you and questioned you and made you sort of shift and transform. So what I would encourage you to do before the year is out is look at the year that was, look at your life, and I would ask myself, what is no longer working? What no longer feels the right fit? What burdens have you carried for too long? What emotional weight is ready to be released? Where have you been giving beyond your capacity? I talk about boundaries all the time. And what story have you outgrown? So it might not just be people in your life, it could be anything. And it can be tiny, small changes. So I always said, I don't get TikTok, I'm not joining it. And I ended up joining it. I don't know if it was this year or it might have been last year. I think I did some videos of Leo. And I hated it. And I went on it begrudgingly, just because when you're doing content like this, you've got to post on Instagram, then you've got to do stories, and you've got to go on LinkedIn, then you've got to go on YouTube, then you've got to do YouTube shorts, then you've got to do TikTok. It is so freaking time consuming, but I love being in Instagram. I love YouTube now. It's probably my new favorite. So I do it because I'm enjoying it and it's a creative fulfillment for me. LinkedIn, that was a game changer. Any people wanting to start a podcast out there, get on LinkedIn. That is how PR agents found me and sent me wonderful guests. So I stopped having to look for guests. It was such a great year for that. I hated TikTok, so I'm going on there begrudgingly. Now, I always talk about energy. If you're on a platform, throwing out a video and then you just close it, you don't look at and engage in other people's videos, you're not enjoying it, you don't get what you're doing, how much success are you going to have on that platform? I hardly got any views on things, and certainly not the podcast reels, but if I posted reels of Leo, that got, I'd say there's a lot of mums on TikTok. But I hated it. And I was so behind, and every day I'd put in my diary, post on TikTok, because I knew I had to. I closed it the other week, and I feel fantastic because it wasn't aligned with me. Maybe one day if my business grows and I get a marketing person, they can go and post to their heart's content on TikTok on my behalf. But I don't think it's so much my demographic, or, podcast listeners are going there to see podcast reels. I think it's more life hacks, and that's just not what I do. Or videos where you talk in your car. Why are you all in your car on TikTok? I don't know. And it felt great. So that tiny little change to me took back time and, most importantly, energy. So creative energy, where I kept feeling like I had to do something. that now can be put into, what did I do this morning? I recorded another guided meditation. Follow me on YouTube. I've got great guided meditations I'm going to be doing hopefully fortnightly, but we'll see. So make space for what is the right fit. So if you're in a relationship that is causing you misery, can you leave that relationship because you might be stalling meeting the right one? And that goes for friendships, that goes for anything, and as I'm saying, I always say all year, it's not that that person's bad, it's just that it might not be the right energetic fit for you. Do you know when you walk into a room and you sort of migrate to certain people and you're like, it's their energy. Their energy is like energy for you, like magnets. You like being around their energy because it might be like, they might be not your age. They might be on paper, have not the same interests, but there's something where you want to be around them. I have people like that all the time. And then there's other people, I don't know if I want to say this. It's like neighbors in my building. Like I love my neighbors and I leave cookies for them and their door handles every Christmas. But some I just navigate towards and some it's just on the surface because there's something in my gut that's saying, hold back, don't tell too much about yourself. It's energy. To me, that's energy. So making space for the right fit can be anything. I always start the year by going through my wardrobe, taking out anything that's is no longer for my body type or I no longer want to wear. If it's good, I sell it on Depop or on eBay. I even sold things before Christmas that paid for Leah's Christmas presents. Or if it's, maybe not so good, you think it won't sell, but it's still good to wear, put it in a bag, give it to Vinnie's or Salvo's. And then if it's, you work out tights with holes all through them, that can be binned. So everything in your home has an energetic frequency. You would know that from episodes previously in the year. So remove anything that's taking up space of what might be a better fit for your life in 2026. So 2025 was the global year 9. So that there are 9-year cycles. So that brings a completion of a 9-year cycle. And as we start 2026, that's a year 1. So that's a kicking off a brand new 9-year cycle. So the energy's fresh. The energy's exciting. So many have felt unusually tired or just done emotionally this year. It's not laziness or fatigue without cause. It's the vibration of the 9 demanding a final clearing before the cycle ends. So again, it's relief to know it's not you. So exhaustion this year has been a message, not a malfunction. So take it as a reset. 2026, if you're into Chinese horoscopes, is the year of the fire horse in Chinese zodiac, but it's not until the 17th of Feb. So I always think that January just in general can feel like a false start or, a hangover of December. So, people are still on leave, people still have their out of office on. So I sort of start really sharing creative things from February personally. So the fire horse is a dynamic mix of the energetic horse with the passionate fire element. And it's quite rare. It's a 1 in 60 year thing. So we're not going to say that for another 60 years. So 2026 is a time for planting seeds, taking initiative, building foundations, and embracing individuality, which I love. I've actually talked about authenticity and individuality a lot in this year. And I think that is really a big component of confidence. Whenever I feel like I'm trying to fit in or be someone else, I have to, I get to film some content after this for a brand collaboration. And I found myself looking on their page of what other girls did and, the very fit aesthetic and the gorgeous activewear and the gorgeous hair and the gorgeous aesthetic kitchen. I don't have any of that. But what I do have is my authentic voice for my audience. So my life's a little bit of, organized chaos with the mum life. So instead of, I looked at it, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be me and make it a bit comical and a bit more humorous and just down to earth. And then I feel more comfortable. When I look back at any times I've tried to be someone else, I'm so awkward and nervous. It's cringeworthy. So I'm so excited that 2026 is about embracing individuality. So the themes for this 1 year, for this numerology number 1 year, are new beginnings, a global reset, a fresh spark, and the start of a new 9-year cycle. So it's not just us, it's going to be globally. And there is a lot of turmoil in the world at the moment. So I'm hoping that can symbolize a little bit of change, perhaps world leaders, maybe one day, who make rational decisions and read books. Oh, remember Obama? So another theme is leadership for this year, encourages taking charge, self-reliance, and acting as a trailblazer. That's something that I'm trying to tap into, especially the self-reliance. I think there's a lot of time when I've outsourced things, externally. Sometimes you need it. Sometimes yeah, I've sort of come to this place where I don't even think I want therapy. I think I want to go inward this year and just up the meditation, up the connecting with the self. I know what I need. It's about me placing that trust in myself. So 2026, I'm really working on that. Action and initiative rewards those willing to take risks, set clear goals, and act with conviction. Again, confidence. And individuality, as we discussed. So focuses on self-awareness, personal growth, and freedom. Actually, speaking of freedom, I just messaged one of my besties, Jane, who listens to this podcast. She is an amazing artist, amazing tattoo artist, Jane Stewart Tats. Check her out on Instagram. And she's done most of my tats. You've probably seen my beautiful moon phase tattoo on this video a lot. And I messaged her saying, you know what, I don't think I'm done. I think I want one more. I'm, after I have a second child, that's something we're thinking about. And I remember in 2011 when I left an abusive relationship, I went on a Kentucky tour to Italy because that's where my family's from. And I just wanted to explore my roots a bit more. And I remember in Venice being obsessed with their symbol. I don't know if you've noticed up on the towers and that there, it's a lion with wings and it's meant to represent strength and freedom. Two things that I clung to when I was leaving that bad relationship. So I don't know where I'm going to put it. I'm thinking maybe here. So we'll see. I'll brainstorm with Jane. So 2026 is looking exciting. Change is a good thing. So this year was really hard and really heavy, but sometimes for the little things that felt not so hard, but hard in the moment, they needed to happen. So I'm very excited for the change. So my recommendation now is to implement some practices. So this is where I would sit down and write out my goals. Now, I stopped writing the yearly goals. I think that puts pressure on me that when I get to the end of the year, I haven't quite ticked them off. It's just something that I continue to work through. Just because December ticks over to January doesn't mean I've failed. Like you can be planting the seeds towards things. So I generally write short-term goals and long-term goals. But I think last year I just focused on goals. So in 2025 was the worst year for me ticking off goals because my life changed so drastically. So I was going to learn Italian. I was going to, go back to guitar lessons. None of that giving to the self happened because I was setting up the foundations for what I'm hoping will create a life of even more freedom to do more of that in the future. So it is not a fail. It was a pivot. So if you feel you didn't, don't even look back to see if you've ticked things off this year. But if you feel that you haven't, don't worry. You're writing a new list now. I love a vision board. I feel like mine is still up to date. I feel like I don't have to update it. It's on the back of my bathroom door. Anyone who's seen it, who's visited my house will have seen it. I have it split into two. One's sort of like the house and the traveling. The other is the career and the finances. And I get so excited when I look at it. I'm a very visual person. There is so much science behind looking at the goals. It's creating a muscle memory. You're looking at it, you visualize it, you're picturing yourself in it. And when you work towards it, it feels like muscle memory so that when you get there, it feels familiar. So there's so much science behind vision boards. I'm a real fan of them. And as I said, I smudge stick the house. I try to do this once a month, but definitely the New Year's, I do the white sage to get rid of the bad energy, have all the windows open, the nice music on. I put a face mask on because that shit is strong. And then later in the day, in the afternoon, I do Palo Santo to bring in the good energy. It feels good for me. You've had people over at Christmas. That is a lot of different people with a lot of emotional, different energy stagnant in your home. It's not a bad energy, but it's not your energy. Time to clear it out. And as I said, clearing the wardrobe and the kitchen cabinets, it's a great way to clear the energy to make way for the new. I love to pick a theme, word, or phrase for the new year. I feel like I've really embodied the ones from the last few years, and especially that phrase of getting uncomfortable in the uncomfortable. Absolutely did that. So for me, I was on Emma Largalo's podcast and I can't remember which words I said, but now they're completely gone out of my head. And I remember saying audacity, like I'm going to have audacity. And it's okay to change because now I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling full of attitude. I'm feeling a bit more reserved about it. But the word I want to use is expansion. And I feel like I planted seeds in 2025 and I want to expand on that in 2026. So that could be in any area of my life, but let's revisit in a year and see if I feel that I expanded in any way. I want to finish by thanking you so much for being here over the last year. As you know, I left a job that had wonderful colleagues and I've felt a little bit out of my depth or out of my element or out of my comfortable stage with not having a team of people around me. And I do miss collaborations, and that's something I really want to work towards in the future with work. But having this space and this community has meant so much to me. So I thank you for spending your time with me week in, week out. And it's exciting that they're now weekly episodes. It's more work, but it feels like more of a community. I hope these episodes have brought some sort of benefit to your life and some sort of comfort. I hope that 2026 is a really beautiful, magical year for you. Feel free to reach out in DMs on socials or comment on the YouTube video if you're watching it now. And let me know what your goals are and what your theme words are. I really love to hear other people's goals and themes. That makes me so excited. And a very huge thank you to my 2025 guests. You have been the company in my home. I have met some people that I will remember forever this year. Like, I don't think you even know how much you have meant to me. And as I said, I've had you on to help the community, but you have helped me so much. The things I have implemented this year, the things I have learned, the most phenomenal guests, I'm so grateful. And a lot of them have had their own books that honestly, I've just up-leveled my life so much. So I thank you, my 2025 guests, for spending your time with me and for really just adding so much to this community. I hope your 2026 is phenomenal. My friends, please do something in the next week to fill up your cup, and please let it be planning out your 2026. So if all you did in 2025 was survive, congratulations. It was a really, really hard and heavy year. You're a trooper. I know that 2026 is better energy, so I hope that you get out there and really do some things that fill up your cup in 2026. Thank you for being here. I'll catch you in the next episode in the new year.